Are you looking for captivating stories without the hassle? Power up your content editing, distribution, and ideation experience with Marfeel Copilot. Say goodbye to time-consuming tasks after crafting your story. Things like generating headlines, highlights, leading paragraphs, or even addressing grammar and spelling errors. In fact, you can ask anything you need, anytime, anywhere. You can even ask that one annoying thing, linking. Get highly related stories, even contextually at the paragraph level, and magically link them in your story. Track the performance of your stories in a cutting-edge tool in your CMS. And actually, everywhere as you browse the internet. Even when researching what's next. How you could cover a certain press release, a news agency piece, or even from an international outlet. Always be one step ahead of what might come next.
Marfeel Copilot, for us, it's a big amount of things, right? So for us, it's a suite of features that helps you inside the newsroom get more things done on your day-to-day. It is, I don't know, we can even ask what is Marfeel Copilot to Marfeel Copilot, right? So this is one of the things that we could be doing, and we ask the system for help. And it tells us that, yeah, it can help you getting answers, I don't know, on your real-time data or even on your historical data, that it helps you by providing suggestions. Remember that, yeah, Marfeel Copilot, when you were like inside an article, we had all these suggestions for the headlines, for, I don't know, helpfulness analysis, and all this kind of, suggestions that we've got for more than a year now. One of the requests that we've got, I don't know, very frequently, I'm going to say, is that those headlines were really good, and all the suggestions that we are making as a system were extremely good. But in lots of cases, you were getting them late already once the article was published. So, and this might be like annoying, especially when thinking about SEO, and even it was making adoption hard, right? Because, I don't know, getting into the habit of using the tool after publishing the article was not ideal. As part of this, we took the challenge, and I'm happy to show you today, as part of Marfeel Copilot, our writer solution. Our writer solution is a system that allows you to create new documents. It's like a word processor, an easy one. Well, it's not an easy one, but it's like a minimal one, okay, where you can come here and type whatever you want. And it's just a text editor, something that simulates a place where you can introduce text. For today's presentation, what I'm going to be showing is an article that it's kind of a draft. It's not a draft, it's an already published article, but I'm going to be relying on it for the length of the presentation. On this article, on the writer module, the new one that we can see, you see the document right in the middle. It's a big thing where you as an editor are going to be writing. And we have a sidebar, which has lots of suggestions. So depending on the phase, we are classifying those suggestions for headlines, the helpfulness evaluation, highlights. You are going to see like a bunch of new suggestions that we have. And also we have suggestions for distribution, where you can find the, I don't know, the Facebook ones or the Twitter ones, or even something that we call rewrite for paper, and we are going to get into it. So, for example, if I expand the discover headlines, remember that this is leveraging our AI. It's using your data to come up with, I don't know, the best headlines. And this is like three options or three headlines that, after the system reads this document, makes me the recommendations. Now, something that is very wild is that as you click on regenerate, you can, I don't know, leverage the creativity of the model, and you are going to get new headlines. Even, you see here down at the bottom, there is something called tone of voice, which is the tone of voice that the system has to use to produce the headlines. In this case, I'm using science for general public, because this article is about the solar eclipse that happened like 2 or 3 weeks ago. But what I could do, for example, is go to neutral, and as I regenerate the headlines, that's going to change. We are going to be going very deep into tone of voice. The idea, and I'll be walking you through it in 5 minutes, more or less, we will be able to generate, I'll show you how to generate your own tone of voice, so the system just express itself as you would do. Now, what can I do with those titles? I'm going to use a tone of voice that I like very much. It's satirical. I don't know, it's a playful tone of voice, you will see. And yeah, I'm just gonna regenerate titles. And once I get the title, what I can do is like, you know what, I like this one. I click here on replace, and the system has automatically detected that the document that I have here didn't have a title, so it's appended it. But now imagine that I like this more, so I can replace it, and the system already knows that this is a title and goes and adds it. Something that we, by speaking to most of you, what we have found out is that, yeah, the articles that you write have like common structures depending on your newsroom. And it's very common that, for example, some of you use highlights. Highlights are those 2, 3, 4 bullet points that you put as a brief summary at the beginning just to engage with the user, so the user keeps reading and finds out early on the article if it's an interesting piece for him or not. So the system creates like the highlights based on my tone of voice, the one that I've retrained the system on before this presentation. And as I like this one, I can just go and append it. Again, the system knows, or the document knows, that this is where highlights should go, or I can just go and append them all, like the 3 ones. So with this, I get 3 bullet points, I've got the title, and all just at the speed of light. Our models are extremely fast, so you don't have to wait for it. Okay, you've got enough on your shoulders, and yeah, you will see that everything works at the speed of light. What else have we got here? Some of you, instead of using highlights, and this is a decision that you can make as a newsroom and your strategists, is to have like a leading paragraph. Instead of having the 3 bullet points, you want to have like a summary, very brief summary that can expand like more or less. That depends on you. And for example, this is the one that the system is providing me. If I don't like this one, I can regenerate it. Or if I don't like the tone of voice, I can just be changing. Imagine that I want to write more for a scientific magazine, or like even take that farther and write it as if I was writing like a paper, if I was as a PhD. So what I can do now is like, okay, I want to append this. And once again, the system knows that, yeah, the leading paragraphs goes right after the bullet point or the highlights. And in a second, I've just got like a perfect summary or like a quick starter to the document. All those are what we call document level suggestions. Those are prompts that we run on the with the whole document in context. But yeah, what else have we got here? So you've got the helpfulness evaluation one, but there is things that we've taken this to the next level. So imagine that, yeah, when you are writing, I love writing. I'm not good at writing, but I really like how writing helps me thinking. And most of the times what I do is I just do a brain dump. I write everything that is in my head. And what I would like to know is like, okay, maybe the story that I'm drafting doesn't make sense from the angle that I'm taking it. So what the system can do for you is, given your text, offer you different angles. And this is about the solar eclipse, as I was mentioning. So the system is finding like different perspective that you could take, like the photography one, the scientific one, environmental one. So all these, and again, if you don't like those ones and you want to get more ideas, you hit on regenerate and you're going to get more options. Or imagine that, yeah, you've written the whole article. It's just perfect. But you want to know if there is any missing piece that the system considers that you could be expanding the story on. So you click on expansion ideas, and that's going to give you a bunch of ideas or questions that a user reading your article might have that are not directly answered. Or even if this is like a story that just worked, and you will see in a second, because I'm using the embedded writer, but this can work perfectly on your CMS as well. Imagine that this story is already published, it just worked, but it's dying. So what can you do next? Here you can get the follow-up stories, or even if you are still at the ideation phase, you can outline based on your draft. The system can give you an outline on how you could be structuring your article. Again, this is just for the ideation phase, and it's not our intention to just write stories at full length, not at all. More document level prompts or suggestions that we get is when you get into the distribution phase. Okay, you are pretty aware of all this, and those are models trained on your social feeds. So remember that we have access to your Facebook posts, to your Twitter posts, and basically, yeah, you can get tweets and automatically post them from here, as Xavi explained a couple of weeks ago on the other webinar that we ran on social. Up until here, I've covered the sidebar. Okay, those are prompts that we execute or suggestions that we execute in the context of the full document. Now, what we have realized is that lots of times what you want to have is like something more contextual. Imagine that I'm not a native English speaker. What I'm going to do next is that, I don't know, I want to check just for this paragraph, I hit escape, or I just select the full text and this box appears, right? So this is what we call the magic box. And it's called a magic box because it does magic, actually. So some of the things that we can do is ask the system to correct spelling and grammar of this paragraph. And as I do it, again, just take a look at how fast it is. It's going to run it through the through the grammar corrector. It makes a visual div, okay, just letting me know, okay, this is what is changing, so you can accept or reject. So if I don't like this one, I can just discard this change and I can keep the other ones. And as I complete it and I agree with what the system is telling me, you click on replace and boom, you continue. That is one of the contextual prompts that we've got. I want to see that box again. Let's keep doing some magic. So synonyms and alternatives. I like this very much, but we are going to run it I don't know, we can do it with Birch. I don't know, I don't like how it sounds as a word. I can ask for synonyms at the word level, and that's going to give me synonyms that I can use. Again, we have all the buttons, the same ones across the UI, and I can click on regenerate, and that's going to keep giving me different options. Or, so we've got synonyms, that's easy. There is lots of synonym tools on the internet, but what about alternative statements? So keeping the meaning of what I'm trying to say, regenerate the whole statement, or even like a longer one. So you can get different alternatives, ways to say the same thing, respecting your tone. But what about, there is something that I really love. It keeps me addicted. As I was saying, I try to write a lot. I try to spend like between 1 to 2 hours a day writing. It's a lot of times is about, I don't know, thoughts and things that we need to do and planning ahead. And the way that I personally work is that I do brain dumps. And when I'm doing a brain dump, I'm not trying to express myself properly. I'm just trying to order what I want to say. And something that we've introduced on the editor is the ability to just reorder things. And most importantly, if I'm doing a brain dump, what I want to do once I've structured things and I've reordered the paragraphs, what I'm going to say is that I want to rewrite it using my tone of voice, the one that I've trained the system with, so that I can just do brain dumps without paying attention as I think I write. And then once I've got it, I ask the system to rewrite it on my tone of voice. What this is doing is generating 3 different ways of saying or writing this statement in the different tone of voice, in the tone of voice that I've just selected. So most of the times, and 100% of the times, that one of the 3 options that we present is going to be great, as we've been using it and as early users have told us. So again, the way to do it, the first time you get access to the tool, you go and create your tone of voice. And as you start writing your stories, you do it as you think, and then you ask the system to rewrite it on your tone of voice. The quality is pretty amazing. Continuing with contextual prompts, let me just scroll a little bit on this. We are saying that contextual prompts can be custom as well. So imagine that actually, I don't even know who this person is, Julio Cortez, I don't know who he is. So what I'm gonna do is highlight it, I'm gonna press ask, and this now focuses the magic box. So I'm gonna ask the system, who is Julio Cortez? This is asking ChatGPT, in this case, for an open question, who is Julio Cortez? And you are gonna get the answer straight away. So the way that we are doing this is that we execute prompts giving the right context. Or even, as I was saying at the beginning, I'm not a native English speaker. There is words here and there that I might not be able to understand. So what I'm going to do is translate this to Spanish, just to make sure that I'm getting it right, translate to Spanish. Okay, so and that's going to work. Any basic prompt that you can come up with, you can execute it here, and this is the translation as it comes out of the model. If I open again the magic box, you can see that the recent custom prompts that I've been running are just maintained here, because what we've learned is that in the end, every user has 2, 3, 4 prompts that keeps reusing once and over again. Another one that I use a lot is something like rewrite, being as concise as possible without repeating yourself, okay? So with avoiding repetition. Sorry for typing this. As I click, that's gonna, again, that was a short statement, but what I can do is select those 3 paragraphs. As I was telling you, the system keeps the prompt that you typed and you can re-execute it. And I have to say that it works extremely well. So this is like a summary. I'm really looking for when you start using the tool, so you see it in action with your own content. There is another type of prompts, right? So we've said that we have those big ones at the document level. We've got the selection level ones, and we've got what we call the new block prompts. So I've got an empty line. This is like, let's put like a black paper. What can I do with this? If I hit ESC or just come here on the sidebar and press on the stars, that's going to show me a different set of prompts. Those are empty block prompts. And here we've got 2 examples, like a backgrounder article or to generate a newsletter. What is a backgrounder? So imagine that I'm speaking about the solar eclipse, right? But I've already written 10 other pieces and I want to give a summary. So what I can do here, the system is asking me which article do I want to write a backgrounder on. So what I'm going to do is write solar eclipse. This is performing a search on all your archive. So I'm going to select this article and I'm going to select, I don't know, this these other ones. No, I'm just trying to find this one. Okay, so it keeps track, and I say generate a backgrounder, and this is going to create me a 1-paragraph summary of the 2 articles that I can just go and append. So people, when reading my story, have like a backgrounder on the topic. And even I keep it like this because this is like something different. We've got backgrounders, we've got timeliners, so you can run like a full search on everything that we manage for you, which is the entire archive of your articles, and we can even generate like chronological timelines of articles with very precise summaries. And something that we are really good at, and it's a combination of a suggestion plus a ton of voice, it's to generate newsletters. Again, things that then you can just go and polish and fine tune to make sure that is what you want it to be. I'm going to remove this block here, the one that we've added, and so we are like on the base document. And what I want to explain you next is that after writing an article, most of you have to spend a good amount of time introducing links, and for internal linking, to keep the user on your properties, because I don't know, acquiring a user is really hard, so we want them to circulate. And then there is SEO reasons as well, so there is cross-linking, and Google can scan all your articles and you can infer the well, lots of things, right? So linking, it's a big deal, but it's hard to do. So what we are doing here is that we've created like a specialized tool for you to just cross-link your articles. It's going to happen as I click on linking and just look at the speed of the system. It has scanned the document. At the global level document, we've generated vectors for this document as it is written. So if we re-execute, everything is going to happen again. We get the document vectors and we get paragraph by paragraph vectors. And we put them like in, we do some maths with it, and we find highly related articles that might be related to this topic. So, and in this case, there is like the solar eclipse, there is like lots of different articles speaking about this topic. And what I can do here is that hold on. I go to linking. And for example, what I can do here is that imagine that I want to add a link here. I just select, and as I click on the article, it automatically adds the link. Another thing that I can do, as I was saying, is that I get the links contextually at the paragraph level. Okay, so as I come here, those are contextual links that you might be interested into linking, and I can do the same. So I can do a selection and I can click on an article, or even better, what I can do is just come here and click on this, and the system is scanning the paragraph. It has the context of the article and automatically chooses where is the best spot to add this link. So, and voila, we've got links in place without you having to spend time searching for them and finding the right anchor. Okay, so Pedro, how are we doing? Is there any question that you
Yeah,
think we should be
there are
covering?
a lot of questions, Xavi, but the pace has been amazing. I just didn't want to break your momentum. Actually, one thing that I would like to just to clarify something, because I see a lot of people asking. I cannot find to access this feature on Marfeel right now. So if you can clarify this for them, so I see people just
this is a module that we will be releasing. I'll cover this at the end of the presentation. So we will be phasing out the module starting tomorrow morning. Okay, but again, there is like an entire slide, and I'll be covering this later on the presentation, Pedro.
Yeah, now there are a lot of questions, but they are more generic. So I'll leave them to the end. I think that the pace has been amazing. So keep blowing our mind.
Okay, so yeah, then we keep going. So let's go and go a little bit more, right? So we were looking at linking, and one of the things that today it's blurred, but what you can see here is the author of the article, when was it published, and most importantly, the total accumulated page views during the lifespan of this article, along with the traffic sources. Okay, so for example, I see yellow here. This yellow means internal traffic. This got a lot of search traffic, that got a lot of social traffic. So depending on what you are writing, that might be highly relevant information for you to understand where is your authority on and what might be a good hit or not. Now, I want to re-emphasize that everything that I'm doing is just using my tone of voice. So the tone of voice that I've got here, all the prompts, all the suggestions, just follow the tone of voice. And what is the tone of voice? So let's look. I've told you that I would be showing you what the tone of voice is. So there is an entire system, because Marfeel Copilot Plus is not only a closed set of actions that you can take or suggestions, but it's an entire AI platform for publishers. So I'm happy to tell you that we are opening up all our models and all our suggestions system and tone of voice system, so that you can, I don't know, use it at your will, personally and at the organization level. So for example, let's take a look. Imagine that I'm a new author, okay? So to the system, and I want to create my tone of voice. So to create my tone of voice, what I'm going to do is create a new voice. And XB Tesla, I write a lot about Tesla, and I want the system to create that tone of voice for me. So what I'm going to do is search for Tesla articles that the system has, that I've written, and I'm going to pick this one because I was very proud of this article when I wrote it. I'm going to pick this other one and say, I don't know, this one was really good as well. So I'm just cherry picking the articles that define my tone of voice the best, as I would understand. And by the time that I generate, what we are doing is that we are getting and gathering all these articles, and the system is analyzing the nuances and the specificities on the writing style of those articles. So whenever I'm writing, it's going to be respectful and it will try to follow these instructions. So for example, in this case, we are adding analogies and references. And again, this is like a readable version of everything that is going on behind the scenes. And we've created that automatically from your articles. But there is more. Imagine that you don't want to do that based on online articles that you've got on the system, but that you have like a text that you just want to copy and paste. And this is what I've done. So for example, I do a lot of product announcements and product documentation. So what I did is I came here, I just pasted documentation that we have available from Marfeel. And the system extracts the nuances and the signals is like clarity and precision, logical structure, step-by-step instructions, because in the end, lots of times it's like tutorials, technical terminology. So, and as you read it, you will be surprised about how accurate the system gets your tone of voice, even the satirical one. Okay, so what I've done is like I've copied like a satirical text, and what this is doing is I don't know, what it understood is like, yeah, characterized by a witty satirical tone with a touch of irony and clever wordplay. So the system then will try to mimic and replicate all those things that you are specifying here, and you will be able to just reuse them. Tone of voices can be personal, right? So I'm an editor and say I have my own tone of voice, but they are like, based on what we've learned, they are highly dependent on the section that you are writing into. Even though I'm the same author, I'm not writing the same way when I don't know, I publish something on the opinion section, or if I'm writing on sports, on the sports section. So I can have as many different tone of voices as I need. And even we can have like section-specific tone of voice that multiple authors could share. And this is why, even though I've created those tone of voices, and in this case, they are personal, so they are only viewable to me, other authors on the platform don't have access to them, we think that it's very important that you can share them across the organization. So there is a new role on the system called Copilot Manager that admins can attribute, that will be able to create both ton of voices and prompts, as I'm going to be showing you in a second, and share them at the organization level. So for example, here as a user, as an individual, I have visibility on those ton of voices because I've created them. I can disable them, okay? Because, come on, I have them here, but I don't, they are annoying. I have lots of ton of voices. And as I go to my previous document, you can see now that those ones that I disabled are not available anymore. And instead, I have a ton of voices that come from the organization or from Marfeel. For example, tone of voice to divert me or to educate. What's the purpose? What are we trying to achieve with the story that we are writing? So this comes from the BBC framework on how to produce articles. And I don't know, update me. So you just choose this, and the tone of voices that you set up are the ones that you are going to have available. And if you are like a Copilot manager, you will be able to set up the ones available at the organization level. So all the authors that belong to your organization are going to be seeing these ones. And obviously, you can enable and disable. And those are the ones that we are making available as a platform, as Marfeel, as the system. Again, you don't have to go through them. You don't have to use them. You can just disable them and manage them accordingly to your needs. So again, lots of things here. Very powerful system when you start playing. But what I want to explain you now next is prompting.
Let me interrupt you a little bit, because I have a couple of questions here around tone of voice, and one of them is the tone of voice applied only to the suggestions that we give in the sidebar, or it applies for the whole text, for the magic box, for everything? This is a question that I've received twice.
It applies to the whole thing. So as you are just writing and ask for a suggestion here, it acts and respects the tone of voice that you have here set up. So and you can be just changing at any point, okay? But anytime that you ask a question to Copilot, it's gonna put in place the tone of voice.
Good, thanks.
Okay, fantastic. So next in line are prompts, okay, or like the suggestions, as we were saying. So remember that each of those boxes is what we call a suggestion. So hey, generate me headlines for this cover, generate me headlines for the homepage, and so on. And we've said that we've got those contextual ones that everybody can just come here and type whatever they want to type. But what we've implemented is a suggestions manager at the enterprise level. So the same thing, if I'm reusing every now and again the same prompts, or if as an organization I have some certain needs, or I don't like the prompt that we've got for highlights because you have like a very specific way of doing that yourself, you can create your custom suggestions. And for example, I'm just going to show you what we can do. Again, suggestions can belong can be personal or can be at the organization level, and I can have them enabled or disabled. So in this case, those are disabled, and we are going to be walking through them. The first thing that that the system allows to do is decide where this suggestion is going to be showing. Does it have to appear in the magic box, in the sidebar, if so, in which tab, or even controlling which suggestions we see in the article details? The other thing that we have is the prompt. think about the user prompt the same way that you can think about ChatGPT. This is the instruction. In this case, I've kept them very simple because of the purpose here today is not to create amazing prompts, it's just to give you an example. So imagine that I want to create different subheadlines. And what I'm asking the system is, give me 3 catchy alternative subtitles for selection. Selection is gonna unfold, and this is like a template system. It's pretty sophisticated. And here, before executing this on the LLM model, is gonna make the proper replacements. The other thing that I can define at the suggestion level is which model I want to use. So for different things, we have different models. So we've got 3.5, GPT-4, we've got Anthropic, and there is like lots of different things. Again, to start with, the models that we are opening are GPT 3.5. We don't still have Llama 3, so we didn't have time to put it in place. But as we go, we will be opening all the models, and there is lots of things that we have optimized depending on the on what you are doing. Okay, we run one model or the other one. So in this case, as I save that, give me just a second, Pedro. What I'm gonna do is that this subtitle, I'm gonna enable it. And now, as I go back to the document, I'm gonna open this and I'm gonna find this header, okay? So as I highlight now the full text, you can see that the prompt that I just enabled is available here, but what I want to replace is the subtitle. So I come here, I execute it, and a little bit of magic is going to happen because the system is able to parse the answer without you having to do anything. So you've seen how easy was the prompt that I've introduced, and we are dynamically understanding the answer, and I can just say, hey, I like this one, I replace it, and it's just working as you might expect. And before getting into further prompts, yeah, Pedro, go ahead.
Yeah, the question is exactly around the prompt generation. As you know, we have a lot of non-English speaking customers and people using the tool. So my question is, are the prompts necessarily built in English, or it can be built in any other?
Yeah, you can build them in your language. Actually, the system, we've put a lot of I don't know, resources into understand different languages, and even the language is a variable that we are making available. Okay, so again, I'm going to use Academy because that is very convenient way to show you this, and we've got here advanced AI suggestions. And at some point, you see those are the variables that you can use at the prompt level. And the language is something that we are inferring before executing the prompt. So you can write the prompt in any language that you wish. And even you can instruct the system to reply you back in the language that we are identifying, or the language of the account, or the language of the user. So yeah, different languages are available. And again, the biggest restriction here is in lots of cases we end up relying on models like GPT 3.5, 4, or Llama, okay, or Mixtral. So depending on what we do, a lot of the restriction in terms of language is going to come from the foundational models that we rely on. But I have to say that the main languages are perfectly covered, and it works really, really nicely.
Thanks a lot, Xavi. Keep going.
So, okay, you see how useful Academy is because you get everything in context, and say, yeah, I think that this is going to make a big difference. Okay, so let's keep checking different prompts. In this case, this is, I want to create a prompt that makes me a summary of the whole article. So what I'm asking the system is, hey, make me a summary of 40 words of this article. So this is the context. This property before executing the prompt is gonna unfold, and it's gonna be replaced by the content, by the content of the article, so the document itself. And what I'm saying in this case is that I want this prompt to appear on the editing tab on the sidebar. So as I just save the prompt and make it available, if I go back to the document, you will see that on editing, here we've got it. It's the article summary. It's just generating the summary, and it works. The good thing here is that it's even respecting my tone of voice. So if I just regenerate it, it's going to take tone of voice into consideration. So it's a compounding effect. It's the prompt plus the tone of voice plus a little bit of enrichment that we are making behind the scenes, and is what you are getting. Going back to the suggestions management, correct spelling. So how can we do that? And that is extremely interesting. Again, it's something that we are adding on a post-processing phase. What I'm asking the system is, hey, correct the spelling and grammar of the following text of a selection. And it's going to appear contextually on the magic box whenever I have something selected. I'm going to call this XB correct spelling. I save it, I enable it. And now when I go to the document, a little bit of magic is going to happen. So I'm just going to add here like a typo. And you see it here appearing, XB, correct spelling. I click on it, and boom, the system automatically detects that the output is pretty similar to the original one. So instead of just showing me the answer, it visually shows me a visual diff, and it shows me where that there is an error. And I say, okay, I want to keep this one, replace, and it has solved it. So everything that we are internally using for our prompts, we are opening it up for you to rely on it. More things that we can do. So imagine that printed version. So it's very common. We've heard it on several newsrooms that by the end of the day, the chief editor comes in and says, hey, your article was great. You did a really good job today. You know what? Get it ready for the printed version, but you need to cut it down a little bit because the page where you are going to be publishing it has, I don't know, 1,000 characters. So if you come up with the prompt, what you will have to do is tell the system that depending on the number of characters that you have available, it's going to have to, I don't know, cut the fat more or less. So what I'm telling the system here is rewrite the article provided below to use exactly a number of characters, make the minimum changes, and here is the article. What is this number of characters? This is custom fields that the system is going to be asking the user running it. And by default, it's telling me that I need to have 1,000 characters. So again, I'm going to save it and I'm going to enable it. And by the way, this is going to be showing on the sidebar tab on the distribution options. So if I go back to the document, I go to distribution, and here I've got it, XP print version. And you know what? When I open this, instead of doing something, the system is just asking me how many characters do you need, and that's okay. So I just want 1,000 characters, and it's going to give me summarized version of the article, trying to keep the quote, I don't know, the essence of everything, and it's going to summarize. Again, I'm not trying to say that the prompt that I've written is correct. That's not the purpose. Take it. What I'm trying to say here is that you can add parameters, okay? And that you can ask and parameterize your prompts. And the last example that we've got is the timeliner. Okay, well, this one, it's pretty much the same. So I'm going to jump straight to the last one. And this is, I'm not pretending that you understand this today, but I just want to highlight how powerful the system is. Because this is a timeliner. What we are asking the system is, hey, ask the user to cherry pick different articles. This is going to show the pop-up where you can perform a search on your archive. And then the prompt says, hey, for every article that the editor has chosen, make me, put me the title and the body, and make me a 1-paragraph summary of each of the articles. And this effectively, if I enable it, and by the way, I'm saying that this appears on the magic block box whenever there is a new block, I'm saving it and I'm gonna enable it. When I go back to the editor, what's happening, oops, sorry, not this one, this one. Okay, so I need a new block. So this is what I'm doing. I hit ESC just to open the magic box. And I've got here like the timeliner. This asks me for the articles that I want to have like a summary. This is a one and this is the other one. So I generate, and this is now making a summary of everything of the articles and applies the prompt that I've been showing you. And here is what we've got. Now, what we are trying to help you here is to provide you a platform that you can heavily rely on to follow your processes without us being dogmatic and telling you exactly how you have to work. So we want to be flexible and we want to adapt to how you work so you can optimize things without having to do, I don't know, putting all this at internet scale. We know how hard it is. Okay, so as a brief summary, suggestions. You can define who they will see them. In this case, all those are personal suggestions, but I can just move them to the organization level. And as I move them to the organization, these are available now to all the editors at the organization level. You can define where those suggestions are going to be appearing. You want to show them at the article level, you want to show them in the magic box or in the sidebar, just to adapt to your flows. And you can enable or disable. And also all the suggestions that we've come up with, the system comes with lots of them out of the box. So you have like a hot star and you don't have like a cold star. You can enable or disable, just adapting to your needs, okay, and to your philosophy. The other thing is that the answers are processed and we make them easy to use. So, and the writer tool is heavily optimized to make your life easier. So at all levels, okay? So that is really important. Remember that you can re-execute any of these suggestions by clicking on regenerate. You have global buttons here, but you can just also, and this is part of our post-processing, you can just do things at the block level. And last but not least, remember that we rely on commercial models and models that we are self-hosting on our infrastructure. So that highly goes, I don't know, with your needs. And the statement here is that we are a feature-proof publisher platform. No matter what is coming, we are ready for it.
Very good, Xavi. I have a lot of questions here asking on, is the only way for me to access this is within Compass, or I can access this in any other view?
Okay, so we will cover this in a second, Pedro. Any other question of what I explained before I move on? Yeah, no,
there are some, but I think that they're more generic, so we cover it at the end.
Okay, so yeah, let's do that. And I'm gonna, let's answer this question that you made. So how can I do this outside of Marfeel? So I'm going to go to Investor Place, which is the account that I was using. I'm on at one of their articles, and probably you are all familiar with heads-up display, which is like the little panel here that tells you how much traffic you've got, and it provides you this hint on clicks and click-through rates, recirculation indexes, and all this kind of stuff. Marfeel Copilot comes with a new module, which is a browser extension. I have it installed here. It's a Chrome browser extension. As I click on it, you are going to see what happens. The floating box disappears and everything has been moved to the sidebar. What I was seeing, I'm seeing it now with more space just on the sidebar, same information, different look and feel, more convenient, and everything is going to be traveling with you as you browse, I don't know, your site. Okay, so if I now go to the home page, the heads-up display information is going to be loading inside the extension instead of on top of the articles. Again, the pills, everything is going to work exactly the same, but you are getting the information on the site in a complete different layout. The other thing is that imagine that, I don't know, you go to the BBC, right? So, or like even to the CMS, okay, and you are writing on it. The other thing that we are adding is a global or a minimal view on Marfeel Compass data. So here we can see the total traffic. Again, we have predictive analytics, descriptive analytics. You see all the posts on the site. So global metrics, you have the trend lines, you have everything that you would have on Marfeel Compass right within the browser wherever you go. You can even go and check only your posts. Okay, so you want to have that in context. You can have it in context wherever you go, as I was saying, because this is like a browser extension, right? So I've got here the BBC opened, okay? I'm at the BBC, and you see, this didn't even refresh. Obviously, the heads-up display doesn't work on the at the BBC because I'm not in the context of BBC, but I still can see my information. No matter where I go, I have that. Even our last thing, which is Copilot. So imagine that Copilot, this is the same Copilot as we were seeing before inside the writer. It's the same sidebar, it's the same prompts, it's the same everything. And imagine that the models are trained on your data. So what I'm gonna ask the system is, hey, how could I cover this article as a headline for this cover? And this is just getting the article that I have here from the BBC, like an international outlet, or I'm going to jump now into a news agency feed, and it's going to tell you, I don't know, which headlines could you be using that could work for you on your site, attending to your entities, or based on your homepage, what could work. You can even get, like, imagine you have to read a lot of things, right? So a leading paragraph can be like a summary. Make me a summary of this article just to understand what could be done. Or even, so imagine that this is breaking news. and I'm late to the game. I didn't publish it on time. I was not the first one, but you know what? It's never late. So I can go to ideation and I'm going to ask the system, which different angle could I cover this article with? And it gives me a different perspective. So I don't know, from an artistic perspective, from a tourism perspective, from an environmental perspective. So the system gives you ideas on how to cover in an original fashion the same article that you have here. Or even if this article, it's, hey, we are late and we need to assume that, what you can rely on is on follow-up stories. How or which stories could I write that are tangential to this one, that might have interesting results based on my authority as a site. Okay, this is heavily relying on your data. And last but not least, so imagine that, yeah, I go to the AP News, okay, as an agency feed, or imagine that this was a press release. This is about the about the solar eclipse, and I want to know, okay, how am I covering this topic on my site? I can come here, and linking now is going to show articles from my archive, the archive of my organization, that are highly related to this topic. So I can see, okay, AP News is covering this article in this way. I've already covered this in my publication. So you know what? I'm not gonna repeat myself and duplicate efforts. So lots of things. And by the way, extremely important, tone of voice always comes with you. It's something really important. And if you want to be neutral, you just move to neutral, because every single recommendation that you get is just using your tone of voice. So long answer to your question, Pedro, but the answer is you don't have to use that exclusively on the writer. The writer is very convenient, but you can use the Marfeel Copilot Plus anywhere where you go inside the browser. And with that, we have a few minutes left, so I'm going to rush through that. Pricing of Marfeel Copilot. Lots of the features that I've shown you today are going to be included on the Marfeel Copilot module that we had up until now. Same price, no price increase. Other features that I've shown you today are going to be part of our Marfeel Copilot Plus, and it's going to be like on a pricing basis, it's going to be an add-on on a seat-by-seat basis. Now, philosophically wise, we have a commitment to make this as cheap as it makes sense. Okay, so we want everyone to rely on the platform. We think that it can be like really helpful, and we will be sharing the pricing in just 2 or 3 weeks based on what I'm going to share with you now next. At the beginning, someone was asking, hey, I'm not seeing that on my account. Nobody's seeing it yet because of what I'm going to be doing next. So we will be opening it widely to all our users on the 7th of May. And on the 7th of May, every user is going to be able to opt in for a 7-day trial. On the 6th of May, we will be opening the waiting list for you to just get, I don't know, to opt in for the feature. And tomorrow, what we will be doing is sending an email to all the admins of the account, of the accounts, in case that you want to opt out your users. Okay, so in case that you don't want your users to start using the tool or not even jumping on a trial, again, we are not going to be charging anyone. Okay, so these are free trials, no need. But I don't know, if you want to make sure that this feature is for you and that you want to get into a Copilot, we will be sending an email, and during 1 week there will be like a couple of reminders. If you want to opt out, what is effectively going to happen is that your users won't be able to just start using Copilot Plus. So tomorrow morning, that's going to happen. In case that you are dying to put your feet on the tool, just write to your CS rep, and we will try to accelerate the process. So make sure to be an admin in case that you want to jump in and start playing with the tool. But if not, that's the how the timeline is going to look like. And yeah, Pedro, I think that we are running short on time, but ready to take more questions.
Yeah, no, to be honest, with those last clarification, you just cleared half of our question, because people are very anxious to start using not only the Copilot but the extension as well. As you said, we will be releasing it to all of you step by step. I think a question that is repeating very often here, and I'll start with it, Xavi, is there a way for us to connect this to our CMS, or is just or we need to copy and paste it to make it work, the writer plus Marfeel Copilot?
Yeah, so we will be working with you, so and with different CMSs to make sure that it works smoothly. Okay, so we've got a couple of connectors to CMSs already. The idea is that we want it to work elsewhere and that it works smoothly. So for the time being, I don't know, in the very worst case that it doesn't work, everything else that we've got, you can come here. So I don't know, you've got version history, you've got lots of things, but you can copy as Markdown, you can copy as HTML, and you can copy and paste. But again, the extension might be working already on your CMS without you having to do anything.
Very good, very good. The other thing that people is asking is the extension that you have shown only for Chrome or for any other browser as well?
So right now it's only Chrome.
Okay, only Chrome. Perfect. The other question that people is asking is about the risk of hallucination and any other inaccuracies during the process. Is it a risk?
Obviously, there is a risk. It's there is LLMs, but I just want to be clear on one thing. The entire UI, all the models that we are doing, and all the magic that we are just playing behind the scenes, has a strong belief that we are not going to generate entire articles. So with this, what I'm trying to say is that the tool is here to help you get the best of you every day, so that you are always at 10. We don't intend that the tool generates articles, okay? That it has not been on the table at any point. So with that in mind, it's clear that, I don't know, I can ask who is Julio Cortez and maybe it hallucinates, but everything else that we are asking, it's pretty close, and we haven't got anyone telling us that there was a hallucination. Obviously, if you ask the system when is the iPhone 20 going to be published, it's going to come up with random things. But if you ask things about your article, the sandbox that we've got, it's pretty good.
Very good. Thanks a lot, Xavi. There is a question that even though you answered during the presentation, it's coming back again. Is the recommender changing the prompt into the language of your publication? Is adapting all the requests to the language of your publication? We have a couple of those here again.
So basically, if I come here, I had the extension here. I have an English site. My articles are English. Okay, so the ones I've got in that account. But if I go into a Spanish account, the system is clever enough. So in case that I have here something in English and my articles are Spanish, it's still going to be pretty good at giving you correct results in terms of linking and in terms of prompting. So yeah, it's bilingual. Let's say it this way.
Amazing. And I have another question here that connects to the previous one. Actually, is that considering that we use a lot of AI power features, how this would impact the SEO, right? But I think that, as you have mentioned very, very precisely, the idea is not to write full articles. The idea is just to help productivity, just to help the writers. So just for you to shed some light on it, any additional comment?
Yeah, the thing here is that there's going to be always, so we don't believe, and the tool doesn't reinforce any flow so we always rely on a journalist, on an editor, on a human being just writing the whole thing. So we don't, and really, so we are, from a product standpoint of view, we are going to be cutting things that generate full articles. So with that, what we are seeing so far is that you might write slightly faster, but definitely way better. Okay, so it might take the same thing at the same time, but the result is really good because you can the time that you save, you can invest it into, I don't know, making a better piece. So again, if that has an SEO impact, I would be surprised. Again, if you go for, hey, write me a story about the iPhone 13 and the system does it for you, I don't think you are going to get it out of the system because we are cutting lots of things on the length of the answers and this sort of things. But in case that you manage to get those kind of answers, the quality is not going to be good. So
very good. I have other questions as well, and I will aggregate 4 or 5 in the same one. Is that, can I create my own prompt? I know that you have covered this during the presentation. And how can I, as an admin, how can I make sure that all of my writers is seeing the same thing and I have consistency and some sort of control in the prompt that my editorial team is using?
Yeah, so this is what we've been covering, and the question is around prompts. We are using here the term suggestions, okay? But as an admin, or well, actually as a Copilot manager, you can come here to the suggestions, and here you can just come and create yours, okay? As we've been seeing, you define what the prompt is. You have like some variables that you can lever and that you can use, and then you define where this prompt is going to be appearing and which model it's going to be using. You decide if it's personal. Personal means that it's only available to you, or if you are super proud of this and you want to make sure that there is consistency across the newsroom, you can make it you can give organization visibility. You save, and this prompt has disappeared now from here, but it's available here, okay, which is the article summary, because it's telling me that the entire organization is having access to this prompt.
Amazing, amazing. The other question I had is, if my organization had created their own model, can I plug this model into the tool?
I'm not sure, so we would have to discuss it. But I would be surprised that an organization can run a model. So we have GPUs, we have lots of things, and we rely on other things. Now, I'm going to disclose something in case that you've got a deal with Microsoft Azure, for example, and say, I don't know, you have already you are paying, or like you are getting like a massive discount because of your cloud infrastructure or whatever. Our enterprise customers, and we've already closed a deal with Microsoft to do that. Our enterprise customers might be able to route the to ChatGPT via Microsoft. Okay, just using your API. Again, that is only available to our enterprise customers, but this is something that we can do. I'm not sure. So if you host your own Llama model, no, we are not going to breach that because it has lots of implications. But if it's like another kind of solution that you have, like the one that I'm saying with Microsoft, then we can. It's already supported on enterprise.
Good. And now we're going for the last question, because we are way over time. So I appreciate everyone that is staying here with us. Is about linking. The suggestions that Copilot uses are restricted to the author linking, or we are bringing as well external reference for the linking?
So we are making recommendations on the entire archive of the publication. Okay, so we don't really, we are not filtering anything yet. So it might be a good feature, but right now I have this document here, and the links that I'm getting are from the entire publication, from the archive of the publisher. Okay, so obviously we are not suggesting any other articles that don't belong to this publisher.